in the United States. Then you're going to have the Americans start to attack Venezuela and possibly other countries in South America. So America is in for a bad time. And then what we can expect to happen is America at some point will go to war with Iran. And this will destroy both countries, okay? Iran will not lose this war, but it won't win this war either because America is just going to bomb the crap out of Iran. It's just going to send Iran back decades. But America will lose this war. But this is important because if America loses this war, it's forced out of the Middle East. And once it's forced out of the Middle East, all its military assets goes to Israel, which creates the Pax Judaica. Yeah, does that make sense, guys? That's the plan. Okay, now you have Pax Judaica. The moment that the American empire dies, the empire of Israel is born. Now let's look at America. Obviously, America does not want to use ground troops because the moment that Americans start dying in the Middle East, the moment that they institute a draft, it will create chaos in America. People are going to protest, people are going to revolt. Politically speaking, it will be a quagmire. What the American empire wants to do is use bombing, propaganda, and financing, and this is something we discussed last video, to overthrow the Iranian regime. But the person leading the American empire right now is Donald Trump. And if we look at what he wants, it's actually different from what the American empire wants. Let's ask ourselves a question. What game is Donald Trump playing? Does he really care about Iran? Does he really care about the Middle East? Does he really care about Israel and Zionism and the Great Israel Project? My guess is he does not care. What he cares about is maintaining his global authority and power within the United States. He also cares about destroying the global elite that, in his mind, robbed him of power in 2022. Remember, for Trump, 2020 elections were stolen from him. It's something that he's been adamant about for the past 4 years. In fact, he stews over it. So he wants to get back at the global elite who stole the American election from him. He also wants to make sure he stays in power. That means destroying the global elite and the American empire. Okay, so it's really a struggle between America First, represented by Donald Trump, and American Empire. And you would think that this war between American First people and American Empire would mean that Donald Trump would not use ground troops in Iran. But what better way to destroy American Empire than to give it all that it wants? Okay? What better way to destroy American Empire by making it arrogant, by giving it all it wants, and by putting it in a situation that it cannot possibly win, right? So the idea is this. The idea is, at first, Donald Trump will seem to want regime change in Iran. And he may commit ground troops. But as American people start protesting, as there's violence and civil strife within America, as American soldiers are starting to die in Iran, as the global economy collapses, then Donald Trump's going to want to change his mind, right? But American Empire is fully committed to winning this war. It wants it all in. It refuses to surrender. And now a conflict emerges between American Empire and America First. And Donald Trump can now aggravate this tension by standing with America First over the American Empire. And this will lead to a civil war. And you think it's a bad thing, but a civil war and an unwinnable war in the Middle East are going to greatly enhance the power and authority of Donald Trump. So much so that he would probably be able to capture a third term. It's really interesting in that all three major players, Donald Trump, Israel, and Iran, want America to use ground troops in Iran for their own selfish, individualistic purposes. And that's why I think ground troops will eventually be used in Iran. And I think what will happen is that basically all three players, Iran, Israel, and Donald Trump, will get exactly what they want. Israel will be able to remove America from the Middle East, become the Empire of Israel. Iran will unite the Muslim world behind his leadership. And Donald Trump will probably get his third term. Okay, that's what I see the upshot of this war being. Now, this raises a lot of questions, though, right? I mean, if Israel becomes greater Israel, and it becomes the Empire of Israel and dominates the Middle East, controlling oil and trade, then wouldn't the world unite against Israel? And unfortunately, that's part of the plan. That's part of the prophecy. Okay, and this is something that we will discuss in the next video. Because using game theory itself is not it's not enough to fully explain and understand what's going on in the Middle East. To fully understand what's going on, in my next video, I'm going to explain to you the religious ideals, the religious obsessions driving this war in the Middle East. I'm going to explain to you the idea of eschatology, which means the understanding of how the world ends. Basically, all the major players in the game, Iran, Israel, even to a certain extent the United States, the Christian Zionists within the United States, see this war in Iran as the fulfillment of biblical prophecy. They really see this as the end of the world. And that's why this war is so scary for all of us. I will reveal to you the religious dimensions of this war. They want the world to hate them. In the extreme form of Jewish eschatology, in the world, Israel will fight the entire world and God will help Israel triumph in the end. The entire idea of this ritual sacrifice is to unite the Israeli population. Horrifying about it is that this works. What's the worst thing you can do in modern society? Children, guys. So there's no exit for Israel. You either go all the way or the world comes and destroys you anyway. You will see Israelis go around the world and causing trouble everywhere. They're going to start fights. They shout death to the Arabs on public buses in the Western world. It's intentional. They want to unite themselves by dividing the world, by angering